Good morning and welcome to lesson 3 in our science topic of healthy bodies. And today we're going to be focusing on the heart. You will need a pen and pencil, a piece of paper, and try and put away any distractions. So maybe turn your phone off or put it in another room. Now, some revision to start with. The body is made up of different systems that help it to function properly. Can you name the 3 systems that are shown in these pictures? Stop the video and see if you can give it a go. You have learnt about them in Key Stage 2. Well, did you get these? The skeletal system, the muscular system and the digestive system. Let's have a quick recap of the function of these systems. First of all though, what do you know about any of the systems? Well, the skeletal system, this is the bones, your bones in your body, and it gives your body its basic shape. If you have a very long femur bone here, you'll probably be quite tall. If you have a wide pelvic bone, you probably have wider hips when you're an adult. Again, if you had very wide shoulder bones, that would show on your body shape as having quite wide shoulders. The muscular system, now muscles are bundles of fibres that connect to bones. They contract to create movement. So if you held your arm out and then you pulled your hand up towards your shoulder, it's moved because your muscles have contracted. They've shortened to bring your fist upwards. You also have muscles in your stomach. We can't see them here, but they're in your stomach and they help food to move through it. And very importantly, your heart is one big muscle because it's constantly pumping all the time. And the digestive system. These are the parts of the body that work together to turn our food into the fuel that we need to help stay healthy. So the food will come in through the mouth, it will travel down the food pipe or the esophagus. Oh, sorry, gone on to the wrong slide there. And then it will enter the small intestine where the nutrients in it are absorbed. What we don't want goes into the large intestine, and you know what happens to that. Right, today we will be learning about another system in the body. This is called the circulatory system. Circulatory system. And its name implies that it's based around a circular pattern. At the centre of the circulatory system is your heart. But do you know where your heart is in your body? Could you put your hand on your body where you think your heart is? Well, we're just going to have a look at a little video that actually tells us where our heart isn't. You may have seen people putting their hand over where they think their heart is when they're pledging allegiance to their country. It could be at the beginning of a sports match, it could be in a school, and you'll often see them put their heart on the left side of their chest under their shoulder. But is this where your heart is? So this is actually where your heart is. It's not a long way over to the left as some people think, it's more central. Here we have our lungs, and if you can see these bands here, there are ribs. The heart is actually behind the ribs. It's just been put on this picture to show you where it is. So it's almost in the centre of your body, very slightly over to one side. Now, let's go back and look at the circulatory system, which is the topic of our lesson today. Some questions for you to think about. You might want to stop the video here. What do you know about blood? Why do we have blood circulating around our bodies, and how does our blood move around our bodies? Can you jot down some of your ideas? Well, this is a basic picture of the circulatory system, and it's the system that moves blood around our bodies. And there are many things in the circulatory system, but the four main ones that we will be looking at is your heart, your lungs, blood vessels, which are small tubes that the blood flows through, and the blood itself. So these four main things: heart, lungs, blood vessels and blood. Have a look at this picture here. Can you find the heart, the lungs and the blood vessels in the picture? Well, let's see if we can spot them, and I'll explain a little bit more about their function. So the blood vessels. The blood vessels are all these red and blue tubes on the picture. This is very simplified. Your blood vessels are tiny. And as you can see they run all over the body, and it is their job literally to carry the blood around your body. We've got them shown on a picture here as red ones, which are called arteries, and the blue ones, which are called veins, and I'll explain that later. Now you can actually see your veins through your skin usually. If you look at your wrist, you should be able to see tiny little blue lines. If you've got darker skin, it is much more difficult to see it. I've got extremely pale skin, and you can see mine here. These are veins, so these are the tubes that we saw on the previous picture. Right, what is that line pointing at? Well, this is your heart. So we've looked at the blood vessels in our circulatory system. Now we're looking at the heart. From a previous slide, you know your heart is sitting just behind your rib cage, very slightly on the left, and it's about the size of your fist. Tricky question, we'll come back to it later. Why do you think these blood vessels are shown in two different colours? Why are they shown in red or blue? If you'd like to challenge yourself to answer that, stop the video and note down your answers on your paper. So we've talked about our blood vessels, we've talked about the heart. Let's talk about the lungs. You've got two lungs, you've got a left lung and a right lung, and they sit behind your rib cage. If you place your hands on your ribs and take a deep breath in, you will feel your lungs expanding. And when you breathe out, the lungs go back to the position that they were at the beginning. This is called respiration, breathing in and breathing out, and your rib cage moves outwards and it takes your lungs with it, and air fills the lungs. So we've talked about lungs, blood vessels, heart. The final part of the circulatory system that we're going to be looking at is your blood. We will be looking at this a lot more detail next week. When you found your pulse last week in science, when you felt your neck or you felt your wrist, what you were feeling was your blood pumping around your body. Maybe you want to check it now. See if you can feel it now. I feel mine in my wrist. Now, this is what your heart actually looks like. It doesn't look like that lovely rounded red shape that you see on a Valentine's card. It actually looks like this, which is not nearly as attractive. The dark brown part is the muscle. We know this heart must pump the whole time. So this is a muscle that causes the pumping, and it continually works 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. The heart never stops pumping. Have a look, we've got some very big tubes at the top. Why do you think there are very large tubes at the top of the heart? Stop the video and note down any ideas you have. So back to this picture of what our heart actually looks like. So why have we got this heart at the centre? Why do we need it? Well, your blood contains oxygen and nutrients, and these nutrients and oxygen need to be delivered to the different parts of your body. You need them in your brain, you need them in your knees, you need them in your muscles, you need them in your stomach, you need them in your toes and your fingers. You need the oxygen and the nutrients to be transported around your body. It is the job of your heart to pump the blood around your body so that it can deliver oxygen and nutrients to where they are needed. I imagine this is a little bit like a waiter or a waitress in a restaurant who is carrying the trays of food and drinks to the people in the restaurant at different tables. So he's carrying, the waiter or waitress is carrying, in this case, the food to the people who need it. And that's what your blood is doing. It's carrying the oxygen and the nutrients to the parts of your body that need it, and your heart is pumping the blood around. Let's have a look at this in a bit more detail. So here's a really simplified picture of our circulatory system. We've taken out the lungs for the time being. We've got a heart and we've got our blood vessels. We've got the red arteries and we've got the blue veins. And we're now going to explain why they are different colours. The blood that's being pumped away from the heart is shown by the red tubes. So if you see the heart here, and it's pumping the blood up to the brain, it's pumping the blood along the arms, it's pumping the blood through your stomach, down your legs to your toes. This blood is packed full of oxygen and nutrients, and as it moves through your body along the red tubes, it delivers the oxygen and nutrients all over the body. So this is like the waiter coming out of the kitchen with a tray full of food, and he's delivering it to the different tables in the restaurant. Okay, so what are the blue tubes then? Well, when the blood has delivered the oxygen and nutrients, it travels back to the heart via the blue tubes, which are the veins. It doesn't have any oxygen or nutrients in it anymore because it's been given to the body. So this is like your waiter walking back from the tables with an empty tray. He's delivered the food, or she's delivered the food, and now they're walking back to the kitchen with an empty tray. Something else the blood does as it travels back to the heart, it carries waste products in it, like carbon dioxide, which is something we produce in our bodies and we need to breathe out. So this could be the waiter collecting the empty plates, or the waitress collecting the empty glasses and taking them back to the kitchen. Now the blood, let's go back to that tricky question. The blood needs to flow into the heart and out of the heart. Into the heart and out of the heart. The large tubes at the top of the heart are where the blood goes in and where it comes out. Tricky question then. Where does the blood get the oxygen and the nutrients from? If you were the waitress, you'd get the food from the kitchen. You'd stock up your tray and you'd take it to the tables in the restaurant. But where does the blood get the oxygen that the body needs and the nutrients? Stop the video, see if you can note down some of your ideas. Now, I'm going to give you a warning. The next bit is going to get very complicated, so you may wish to have a little break, get something to eat, or lie down in a darkened room. But this is really quite tricky science to understand. So, the blood in the blue veins returning to the heart hasn't got any oxygen in it. Where does it get the oxygen from? It flows to the lungs. We breathe in oxygen. The blood picks up the oxygen and it goes back to the heart to be pumped around so it can deliver it. So, Blood with no oxygen goes to the heart, it then goes to the lungs, picks up oxygen, goes back to the heart and is pumped around. This happens every second of the day. The blood is constantly picking up oxygen, delivering oxygen, picking up oxygen, delivering oxygen, picking up oxygen, delivering oxygen. And the only reason it's able to move around the body and do this is because the heart pumps it round. Let's watch a video that may help to explain this a little bit more easily. So we know how the blood picks up oxygen, it collects it from the lungs, but how does the blood pick up fresh nutrients to transport them around the body? Well, as it flows past the small intestine in your digestive system, it absorbs nutrients from our food. Now, your activity for today. Do you think animals have the same circulatory system as humans? Do you think they have a heart and lungs and blood vessels and blood flowing around their body? Well, your work for this activity is on Google Classroom, so head over there and give it a go.